Hey everyone, welcome to the next video within the free workshop to build your own successful FMCG startup. Now, a bit about me before we get started. My name is Rishabh. I'm the founder of Confetti Design Studio, where we work with small to mid-stage FMCG brands to turn them into industry leaders with more than 100 crores of revenue. And the way we do this is through better products, better marketing, and better messaging. The reason why I'm doing all of this for free for you guys is because I'm on a mission that as long as you have great products, it is my aim to do whatever I can in my capacity to turn you into an industry leader. And this is what we'll do in this video series, 10 to 11 videos, all of them combined to be 60 minutes max and actionable stuff, not just vague theory, with one single aim, which is to empower you for free so that you can do all the steps that are necessary, which my clients do to become successful. Now, in this video, we'll actually talk about introduction into customer research. We've done the FMCG rut, the belief, the mindset which is holding you back, as well as the rut reversal, the 4-step process, which starts with customer validation and customer research. So I'll give you a quick story of actually how customer research, and especially my first experience, changed my life and how I look at startups and helping them out. So in one of my full-time jobs, I was actually working on this celebrity video messaging application. That was what I used to do before Confetti. And the conversion was pretty low, burning lakhs every day. So it's not a typo. We were burning lakhs every day in marketing and no idea what was the issue. If it was the idea that was wrong, if it was marketing that was wrong, if the product was wrong, we had no idea what we're doing. Now, what we did to solve that problem was customer research and focus groups with more than 120 people. So 120 people within our target demographic. I went to New Delhi and started doing customer testing for this particular startup. At this stage, we tested out the application and some other concepts, and they gave us feedback, which of course I can't disclose, but it changed the trajectory of the brand itself, where within 1 year, we were able to grow our conversion by. We identified what is not resonating with the people. And as it currently stands, that company is India's biggest celeb interaction platform. So all the way from burning lakhs to becoming India's biggest celebrity interaction platform. That is what user research allowed us to do. So this is the compounding effect of user research. And as I listened, I actually learned that customer research can just work in every industry depending on how your approach is. So as long as you have the right approach entering into customer research, all industries can get some crazy value out of this. Now, my promise to you is that within the next few videos, our next few minutes, I would say, I will simplify the process so much that anybody can do it. You, your other founder, anybody in your team can do the customer research, the do's and the don'ts, all the mistakes which I made, which you shouldn't make, all of them, and eventually turn you into a customer insight machine. So you can do it day in, day out to improve your product, improve your marketing, all of that. And at the end of the video, we'll take you through a bonus tip that worked like magic for me. So we'll do all of this within this video itself, starting with the customer insight machine, which is these 4 areas that I'll take you through. I'll walk you through, handhold you through these 4 areas to improve the insights that you're collecting. And this is actually my best effort to simplify user research for your brand, for your FMCG startup. So let's start. The first one is actually picking the right demographic. Now, this is where a lot of people just make a massive mistake, that they pick the wrong demographic to target. Now, what this means is vague audience always leads to vague insights. And as a founder, I know it can be a lot more tempting to cater to everybody. That who is your customer? Everybody is our customer. Everybody in these certain age is our customer. All of these things are very vague in terms of demographic. So that is what we have to do. We have to pick the right audience so that we don't get contradictory results. And the way you divide this audience can be through gender, age, their disposable income, their product awareness, etc., etc. But you have to be a lot more precise and a lot more intentional in choosing the right audience to see who can actually bring you the most business. And I have a quick exercise to see if you can actually identify the vague target audience, to see if that is what you're doing, or do you have a precise target audience in mind. So here we have 3 segments: people who have sweet tooth, younger generation that loves chocolates, and health conscious adults living in metropolitan cities. Now, talking to a lot of founders, you'd be surprised. Almost everybody looks at their target audience as number 1 or number 2. That, oh, Rishabh, we're just a dessert company. Anybody who loves sweet tooth, like who loves sweet products, would love our products. And yeah, we're targeting anybody who loves desserts. That is vague. That is vague in terms of every aspect of user research. Now, something which a mid-level or good, decent FMCG startup founder would do is be a lot more precise that, we're targeting the younger audience. Fair enough, better than the first one. But the best founder within this space, within the FMCG startup space, what they would do is they would go even a step further and outline that we're targeting, for example, and again, this is just a hypothetical scenario, is that we're targeting health conscious adults who have a sweet tooth, who love dessert, living in metropolitan cities. Now, this makes the user interview process, user research process a lot more precise, so that you can actually use that proper information and the data that you collect is not contradictory. Now, this activity should allow the customer to feel that, damn, this product is made just for me. Once you're able to evoke that sense that this product is built just for you, that's when you can actually drive the marketing cost much lower. Now, of course, there would be generic products which are targeting everyone. So if you look at Dettol, Lay's, Vaseline, there would be several FMCG products which target everybody, but these products actually require 100x, 1000x marketing budget compared to a very niche and specific product which is out there in the market. That brings us to the second part of the consumer insight machine, which is consumer versus stranger. So should you interview, should you do research on your current customer, or should you actually do all of these things with a stranger? Now, of course, talking to a customer and talking to a stranger, both of them can give you different flavors of insight. For example, an existing customer might be really good to tell you where is your product falling short. What is the mistake that your product is doing? Because these people are your current customers. On the other hand, a stranger, somebody who has no idea of what your brand does, what your brand is, any of that, and they might be using your competitor instead. Now, talking to these people can give you insights about your customers and how they have a relationship with the competition. So what sort of things your competition is doing good, what sort of things your competition is doing bad, and with no assumed notion that, okay, this is what is wrong or right with your product. Talk to strangers. Strangers will give you so much insights about your customers' relation with the competitors. That the competitor, where are they going right? Where are they going wrong? All of these insights can be unlocked once you start talking to strangers. Now, the third thing which I have to talk about is qualitative and quantitative research. Now, of course, there are 2 major ways to collect consumer insights. One is your qualitative method, one is your quantitative method. Now, qualitative, as the name suggests, is more quality driven. Here you have to talk about the focus groups, interviews, shadowing, and actually diving deeper into the consumer, and not just talking about surface level stuff, but actually dive deep, follow up with them, ask cross question, challenge their opinion, and dive deeper and get qualitative rich insights. Compared to the quantitative one, which, as the name suggests, it's more quantity driven. At this stage, you have to do surveys, polls with a lot bigger audience. So capture a bigger audience and do these surveys and polls just to get some quantitative and measurable insights. Now, a quick, I would say, deep dive into both of these stages, because as I mentioned, this is not just your theoretical session. This is actual tangible insights that I'm sharing with you. So in terms of the qualitative one, for example, an interview, this allows you to dive deeper, ask follow-up question. For example, you ask them about the feedback of your product and they say that they like it. You can actually dive deeper. You can ask them, okay, what makes you like this particular product? What stands out? And the whole conversation can continue whenever it's an interview setting. However, a challenge which is there in the qualitative insights is it can be difficult to convert verbal responses into measurable insights, because you're talking here. So it's really difficult to convert verbal insights into measurable numbers. Additionally, because you're talking to people, the number of people that you talk to might be less, due to which data can be skewed based on the bias of the people that you're talking to. For example, you're talking to only 50 people. Now, out of those 50 people, if 5 people have a certain opinion, that's like 10% of a target audience. So even a small set of users can completely skew your data. So this is something which you have to be really careful about when you're doing qualitative insights. On the other hand, quantitative one, now of course, in surveys or polls, you have a much bigger audience that will give you these insights. What that means is that it's a lot more reliable, because you have a much bigger pool of people who will share their insights with you. Now, of course, because it's not one-on-one like interviews, this can become really scalable. So interviews are one-on-one. I'm talking to you, I'm talking to a customer, it's one-on-one, which is less scalable. Survey, on the other hand, are as scalable as you want. So you can just, the more you are able to amplify it, the more people who can just fill that survey, it is a lot more scalable. Plus all of these insights, because it's measurable, it's not words, it's numbers and ratings. These numbers and ratings can be easily measurable, can be easily quantifiable compared to what an interview would do. However, because it's not a one-on-one scenario, it has one small con, which is you can't ask follow-up questions. Now, because you can't ask follow-up questions, all you have is usually surface level answers into tricky questions. Plus, of course, because it's survey, highly recommend you to actually have a much bigger pool of people to talk to. So ideally, a couple hundred would be a good number, which is where the most frequently asked question when it comes to user interview comes in. Whenever we're doing interviews, is clients ask us, okay, how many interviews on service do you need? Now, according to research, and there is a lot of research done in this space, if you're talking to a certain set of users within an interview setting, then usually 50 to 70 number is a good number at which you can reach a saturation point, which is a good set of insights that you have. For surveys, this number usually belongs somewhere from 300 to 400. And once you're able to do this, going above this number would just increase your budget and might not give you some tangible insights, but 50 to 70 interviews and 300 to 400 surveys, as long as your demographic is precise, is a really good place to be at. Now, last but not the least, virtual versus in-person. Now, virtual, of course, is having all of these interviews, having all of these things, your survey being more scalable because it's virtual in nature. So imagine Google Forms, Zoom calls, all of these are virtual and are a lot more scalable. However, in-person interview or in-person insights have a certain advantage that you can actually get tangible insights into your products. For example, you can do the testing of your product through a sense of touch, through sense of smell, through sense of taste, etc., which you can't do in a virtual setting. So on Zoom or Google Form, these are virtual settings. You can't do any tangible testing. Now, based on what you actually want to find out, you can actually choose the correct format. If you want to find out more information about the tests, the smell or the taste of your product, then of course you have to do in person, or else if it's simply chatting with somebody, understanding what your competitor is doing wrong, that can be done virtually as well. So based on your budget, based on what you have to figure out, you have to understand which model would work better for you, virtual or in person. Now that summarizes our customer insight machine. Done. That's it. Within 15 minutes, we have covered all of this up. Now, one bonus tip which worked like magic for me is when I actually started user research. For the first few times, I did not have very good insights. Now, here is a list of some mistakes which I made in my initial days of user research, so you don't have to make the same mistakes again. Now, first one is accepting the insights at face value. Just because your participant said something doesn't mean that's true. Feel free to follow up. Feel free to ask them once again, cross-question them, all of that. The other one is interrupting the participant just to move on to the next question. User research is an expensive and time-taking process, I know. But do not interrupt the participant whenever they're giving you certain information, because this can shut them up even for the next question. They might start sharing less information if you start interrupting them. So this is what we have to make sure that we don't do. And of course, not following up, not asking or not sharing briefs like, tell me more. Okay, tell me how you came to that conclusion. And showing that curiosity. If you don't show that curiosity, because initially I never showed that curiosity while doing user research, and the insights were really terrible. Once you show curiosity, simple phrase like, tell me more, it allows the person that you're talking to open up and actually give you real insights on what they feel, why they feel that, and what are certain things which got them to feel that way. So always use this phrase. It's like super powerful. Tell me more. And last but not the least is accepting vague responses. Just because your participant said, oh, it's nice, it looks good, doesn't mean that your job is done. Your job will be done when you are actually able to dive deeper into all of this to get the real information. Now the question is, once you have done all of these things, what is it that you have to do in the user research once you have covered the consumer insights machine? And that is where these three pillars comes into the picture: product validation, price validation, and messaging validation. So this is what we'll do in the next video, that I'll teach you how to do product validation to begin with, and actually handhold you to the complete process of consumer validation on product, price, messaging, everything to take you out of this FMCG rut. That was my promise from day one, and that is what we'll do in the next video. So I'll see you there. Thank you so much.